Well, hello and welcome to the webinar. Today we're talking about growing from fulfillment to profit. So I am your host, Jason Shine with Real Smart Consulting. So I'll give you a little bit of background about who I am. So I have over 10 years of real estate sales experience, and around about 2011 I joined a real estate company in the DC metropolitan area, and I was asked to be a part of a group that was forming a training, coaching, and mentoring program at that particular company. And that was the opportunity for me to finally begin engaging in something that I had wanted to do for a long time, and that was coaching and consulting other business professionals. And in that case specifically, it was coaching real estate agents. So from there, with my team that I was a part of, our sales team, we had reached some great goals, and we were part of the leadership of the top producers at the brokerage. And one Thursday, I believe it was, we were having a a team meeting, or a leadership meeting of all the top producing agents in the office. And it was a vision board day where we were all asked to bring our visions and bring newspaper clippings and magazine clippings, and to put on the poster board all the things that we wanted to accomplish during that year. And as a part of that process, a question was asked. Excuse me. A question was asked, and that question was, "What is your big why?" So the interesting thing is, I had been spending some time already, and I had come to a conclusion, or a few conclusions, about what my big why was. But what shocked me is that we were in a room with the top producers of the office, folks who were highly profitable, highly successful in the sense of making lots of money in the six figures and upwards. And probably 90% of the people in the room, of the sales professionals in the room, did not have an answer for what is your big why. So every day, getting up, making the calls and the cold calls, and doing all the activities and actions required to be a successful salesperson, but not having a clear picture of why. So that was an aha for me, and it let me know that there was a need in the industry, but also just a need in general for there to be a focus on the big why, purpose, and some of the things we'll talk about today. So from there, I continued selling with my team for a few more years until I launched out and started full-time my consulting and coaching company, Real Smart Consulting, in 2015. So I have over 6 years of formal coaching experience, and one of my biggest passions is actually helping other people discover their passion and purpose in life, and then helping them with the tools and the systems and strategies they need in order to be successful. Some of my favorite testimonials and results from clients that I've worked with, I have stories of clients doubling income in 6 months, and I don't mean just going from making $10,000 to making $20,000. I'm talking about in the six figures. Also, anyone I sit down with, we go over goals, and we come up with a goal plan. And I'm happy when clients also reach their 3-year goals in just 1 year. So that's a little bit about me. So today, we're going to talk a lot about this word here, fulfillment. So the definition of fulfillment is satisfaction or happiness as a result of fully developing one's abilities or character. So that's the dictionary definition of fulfillment. So I have my own definition of fulfillment, and that is discovering your purpose and doing it with passion. Discovering your purpose and doing it with passion. So let's jump right into it. I promised you 3 keys today, and we're going to jump into key number 1, the surprisingly simple way to discover your passion. The surprisingly simple way to discover your passion. So, sitting in my office a few years back, prior to even starting my coaching practice, I did a workshop with myself. I was, feeling kind of stuck, not necessarily having the direction that I wanted, and not having a clear picture, of course, of how to get there. And I asked myself a few questions. The first question I asked myself was, well, What are you angry about? And the purpose of this was to discover my passion. And as you can see on the screen, there's the Marvel Avengers character, the Incredible Hulk. And one of the things about the Incredible Hulk, if you're an Avengers fan like I am, is that when he's not the green monster, he's a regular old scientist named Bruce Banner. The peculiar thing is, when he gets angry or when something infuriates him, he transforms into this big green machine that can't be stopped by anything. So when you start talking about your passion and discovering it, the question that you want to ask yourself is, what am I angry about? And when I asked myself this question, the thing I was angry the most about was seeing potential that was not being fulfilled, potential that wasn't being realized. Driving down the street and just seeing people wandering about without clear direction as if there's nothing more to life, that angered me. So then I asked myself a second question. I asked myself, what saddens me? And the answer sort of surprised me. It was actually the same response that I gave to what angers me. So the same lack of purpose and lack of direction that angered me also saddened me. So the interesting thing about anger and what I'll call grief here is that it's really the same emotion manifesting itself in different ways. So think about that for a second. If you talk about anger, anger can be expressed in a negative way or a positive way. So we go back to the Incredible Hulk. When he's angry, it's typically at some sort of superhuman or out of space villain, and he's using that anger to stop an impending threat to the planet. But also, there are times when anger can lead to negative action. So the point about anger is that anger leads to some sort of action, and that action can be negative or that action can be positive. Grief, on the other hand, or things that bring you sadness, they, on the other hand, often cause you to withdraw, to step back, to go into a cave. So that's a particular thing about that emotion that causes anger or grief. One leads to action, the fight, and the other leads to withdrawal or the flight. So that's just something interesting to keep in mind as we talk about this. So the last question I asked myself was, okay, if I've talked about anger, I've talked about grief, well, what brings me joy? In fact, what brings me great joy? And the answer to that question was pretty simple. It was the opposite of what brought me anger and what brought me the sadness. It was seeing potential realized. It was seeing people walking in their purpose and using the gifts and talents and all the skills that they had to do something. And in another workshop, I talk about moving from potential to kinetic, the two different types of energies, where potential is energy that's stored up, nothing's happening with it, whereas kinetic is energy in motion. So seeing people with that kinetic energy, with a clear picture of their purpose, a clear picture of where they want to go in life, with a plan to get there, that brought me great joy. So the questions you want to ask yourself now, what angers you? What are you angry about? What saddens you? What brings you joy? And these will be clues to discovering your passion. Because if you're going to be successful in life, you really have to have a clear knowledge of your passion and a plan to execute on that passion. With that, I do an activity called MVVB, and that stands for Mission, Vision, Values, and Beliefs. So mission, the mission is your purpose. What do you want to accomplish in life? That's your mission. Your vision, on the other hand, what does the world around you look like as a result of you accomplishing that mission? What does the world around you look like as a result of you accomplishing that mission? And then we have a two-part, value and values. So your value is what you bring to the table. What are the unique experiences, What are your gifts, your talents, your resources even? What do you bring to the table? What do you offer to other people? And then we have your values. Your values are what I call your non-negotiables, things you won't compromise on. What's most important to you in life? And then finally, your beliefs. What do you believe about blank? And I leave that as an open-ended question, because you may have beliefs about life, you may have beliefs about business, beliefs about family. So whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that's important to you, what do you believe about that? So we have, again, your mission, which is your purpose, your vision, which is the world, a picture of the world as a result of you accomplishing that mission, your value, what you provide and bring to the table, your values, what are your non-negotiables, and then finally your beliefs, what you believe about the things that are most important to you. So the value of having this MVVB is to really begin to, number one, be clear about yourself, for yourself, and then as a result of that clarity, you can be clear about who you want to surround yourself with in terms of colleagues, in terms of partners, in terms of customers and clients. The picture that you paint here with this MVVB is going to give you direction about where you should go, where you should hang out, where you should spend your money, your time, your energy, your efforts, and who qualifies to spend time with you. So here's a picture of what I call a life of value, or in this case, my life of value. So my mission is to encourage and support others in the discovery and fulfillment of their purpose, their God-given purpose. My vision is a world where people are excited, they're passionate, and they've experienced the joy of discovering that purpose, and they're excited about what God has prepared for them to do. And I'm a person of faith, and I believe in God and a higher power and purpose and all of this being not coincidence or accident, but actual divine order. So that's one of my beliefs. My values: honesty, integrity, accountability, trustworthiness, peace, responsibility, faithfulness. And really one of the that sums up all of these is treat people well and believe the best about people. Sort of the golden rule there. You treat others as you would have them treat you. And some would say treat others sometimes better than you would have them to treat you. So those are some of my values. And again, my beliefs here, I believe that everyone is significant. I don't believe that there is anyone or anything that's insignificant. I use a story when I conduct workshops about significance, and I talk about one day I was sitting in my office, my home office, and on my balcony I had this whiskey barrel planter. And in that planter I had tomatoes growing, I had basil and all sorts of other herbs and plants in there. And one day I saw a ladybug sitting on one of the leaves. So I got excited about that ladybug, and not because the ladybug was, a pretty insect to have in your garden, but I was excited because that ladybug was about to solve a huge problem that I was having with my planter, my whiskey barrel planter. And that problem was this small microscopic little bug called aphids. And if you're a gardener, or if you know a little bit about botany or biology, you know that aphids are insects that are parasitic, and they can destroy a garden by sucking the life, literally, out of the undersides of leaves on your plants. And when that happens, the leaves begin to turn brown, they wilt, they can't conduct photosynthesis anymore, and eventually they die. So the beauty of the ladybug was that the ladybug eats aphids. So the ladybug, again, was the solution to my aphid problem, because they would eat the aphids, and then my plants could survive. So my purpose in sharing that is not just to give a biology or a botany lesson, but to show that two very small, some would say insignificant things had great significance in my life, but not only in my life, but in many farmers' lives and gardeners' lives around the world. So if something that's microscopic can impact an entire garden, if something that's the size of an eraser on a pencil, the ladybug, can affect an entire ecosystem, then how much more can we as people, as human beings, impact the world with our significance? So that's my belief, that every person is significant. You are significant. If you're listening to this, you're significant. And the second thing is that every person has value. Again, if you're under the sound of my voice, you have value. Whether or not you believe it, whether or not you feel it, whether or not someone else has told you that, you have value. The next thing, a part of my belief, is that the world experiences a void when we don't live on purpose. The world experiences a void when we don't live on purpose. So what do I mean by that? All right, let's take an extreme example. Let's say the sun, Mr. Golden Sun. Let's say tomorrow it decided that, you know what, I don't feel like shining anymore. I don't want to rise. I don't want to take my place in the sky. I'm just not going to do it anymore. What would happen to the world if that happened? If the sun decided to do that? The world would be cold. The world would be dark. Plants would die. Animals would die. The water would freeze. And ultimately, the world would, as we know it, would come to an end. So the same thing happens when we, as people, don't take our place in the sky. We don't take our place by fulfilling and walking out our purpose. The world experiences a void. It becomes a cold, dark place. So, if you're not stepping into your purpose, if you're not doing it with passion, the world around you right now is experiencing a void, a darkness, a coldness. So the final thing here on this, my beliefs, is that true joy comes from passion fulfilled. So if you want joy out of life, if you want joy out of your business, joy out of whatever you're doing, it comes from your passion being fulfilled. So let's talk about success key number 2. How your car is the solution to achieving your goals. How your car is the solution to achieving your goals. So you may be asking, well, how in the world is that possible? How could my car be the key or the solution to achieving my goals? Well, I'm going to share that with you now. So every modern car, typically, well, I'll say every, but just about all, modern day cars have what's called a GPS system. And if the car doesn't have it, typically the driver has a smartphone, as you see in this picture here, that has GPS. So GPS stands for Global Positioning System. So for Global Positioning System to work, there's some data that you need to input in order for it to be effective. The first thing is, where are you? Where are you? That's a very important piece of data to begin building a roadmap to your destination. The second question, or the second data piece, where do you want to go? Where are you, and where do you want to go? So when you plug those two pieces of data into the GPS system, it gives you a roadmap. So the same is true for your life. The same is true for your goals. So if you have a goal, you can start building a roadmap to that goal by telling yourself or sharing, where are you now? That requires reflection, introspection, honesty, transparency. But discovering and really thinking about, where am I right now? Am I where I want to be? You may even take it a step back and say, well, how did I get where I am today? positive or negative. How did I get here? So once you've become comfortable and accepted where you are, then you need to look and say, all right, here's where I am in life, here's where I am in business, here's where I am in my finances, here's where I am in my family situation. And then you start talking about or thinking about, where is it that I want to go? So I've discovered my passion, I've discovered my purpose. Now I need to get moving. I need a roadmap to get there. So those two pieces of data will help me to get there. Where am I? Where do I want to go? And then out comes the roadmap. So a few things about this roadmap. So even when you have a GPS system, that GPS system gives you a path, but some things may happen along that path that were not expected, that weren't projected by the GPS system. Now, obviously, we have social sharing navigation systems such as Waze and some others that can give you a heads up. But sometimes accidents happen on the road. Sometimes, flash floods happen on the road. So the path you thought was going to get you to the destination sometimes changes. Sometimes traffic just comes up out of nowhere. So you might have a delay on the road to achieving your goal. But here's the thing. If you keep following that GPS, if you keep following that roadmap, if you keep just following the detours and the reroutes, you will ultimately get to your goal. Even if you're in traffic and you're cruising down the road of life, doing 70, some folks do 80, 85, 90, hopefully not. But you were cruising, and then all of a sudden you see the brake lights and you got to slow down. Maybe you're crawling bumper to bumper at 2 miles per hour on a delay. But as long as you keep going, you will get to your destination. So on that note, that's where ETA comes in. I'm famous for, before I head out, looking at the ETA on my actual GPS system to see how long it's going to take me to get to my destination and see what time I'm expected to get there. So ETA gives you something to look forward to. It gives you some guidance. But as it relates to what we're talking about today and coaching and fulfillment, ETA stands for encouragement and troubleshooting, and I'll get to the A in just a moment. But as you're on that road, that GPS system, as it's giving you an ETA, it's giving you some encouragement. If I run into traffic and I need to be somewhere by 11 a.m. and the GPS is saying I'm still going to get there by 10:57, well, I may be a little bit nervous, but at least I've got the encouragement that I'm still going to get there on time, right? Troubleshooting. So troubleshooting, as we talk about ETA, troubleshooting. Well, if I see that I'm not going to arrive on time, or if I see that the road I'm on is taking longer than expected, or if I see that there's some tolls or things that are not really helping me along the way, well, then I may need to look for a different route. So that's where a coach comes in. So one of the things that I talk about with coaching is that you're going to need encouragement along the road, because the road sometimes gets rough, and that's just a part of the road. It's not something that's abnormal when you get into a delay or a traffic jam or even an accident or flash flood or some things that just pop up. That's a part of the road, and you need someone there that's going to give you encouragement. And then troubleshooting. If you need a different route, you may have had the best planning based on the circumstances and data that you had in the beginning. But again, life happens and things come up. You may need to troubleshoot. You may need to have someone give you some more options. Maybe some paths that you didn't know existed. Maybe some paths that have worked before with other people, or maybe some paths that are better suited to fit your particular or your unique situation or circumstance. You need encouragement. You need troubleshooting. And then finally, success key number 3, how the A word, the A of that ETA, is your golden ticket to achieving your goals. So let's reveal that A word. Accountability. So many people view accountability as a negative, and I can understand why. I mean, accountability is sometimes not the most fun or exciting thing. Accountability is about being truthful. It's about being real, keeping it 100. So accountability is not always something that many of us want to have in life. But if you're going to get to your destination and you're going to get there on time, if you're going to get there in one piece, if you're going to get there, you've got to have someone that's holding you accountable to taking the turns and the exits and the on-ramps that get you there. When I use my GPS system, the voice is always telling me, in 300 feet, make a right. Or if I do something wrong, make the nearest U-turn. So you've got to have that other voice in your ear that's helping to hold you accountable, that's helping to keep you on that road that's going to get you to where you want to go. Now here's the other thing about accountability that's important. The other thing about accountability that I think maybe sometimes we missed. When you hire out accountability, you're not handing over the keys to that person, to that coach. When you hire out accountability, it's the same as if you're using that GPS system. You're still driving, you're still in charge, you're still in control, and a lot of people may think they're giving up control when they're coming under accountability, but they're not. You're still driving that car, right? The choice is still yours. All you're saying is when you bring accountability in is that I'm serious about getting to the destination. I'm serious about not wasting time. I'm serious about finding better routes. I'm serious about really making this trip, this journey, this year, at this moment, at this time, in this season, I'm serious about making it happen. And that's where accountability comes in. So yeah, there's self-accountability, because it takes a lot of self-accountability to sit down and participate in a webinar session like this. It takes self-accountability to explore bringing on the second type of accountability, which is outside accountability. So it takes a strong person, it takes a committed person, a dedicated person, someone who's serious to even consider outside accountability. And that's who I like working with. I like working with people who are serious. They're serious about their goals. They're serious about what those goals and achieving those goals means to themselves, means to their families, means to their communities, and ultimately means to the world. Accountability. So I want to go back and recap and just go again over this idea, this concept of fulfillment. So remember, we talked about the top producers in the real estate sales office or real estate sales company that were making lots of money, lots and lots of money, but were not fulfilled from what they were doing. So again, if you want to get fulfillment, you don't have to do it at the expense of profit. And you don't have to chase profit at the expense of fulfillment. You can have both. So fulfillment comes from, again, discovering your purpose and doing it with passion. Discovering is the first step. Remember, we talked about the 3 questions that you can ask yourself to help you start getting toward that purpose. What are the things that are constantly coming up that anger you? The things that constantly come up that grieve you, that bring you sadness. The things that come up that bring you joy. These are questions to help you discover that underlying purpose. The second thing we talked about, the second key that we talked about is about really building a roadmap and taking action. So doing it and doing it with passion. So not sitting idle, but taking action, moving along the road and bringing on the support and the assistance that you need to get there. So that's what this is about. That's what life is about. Life is about being full, filled. Filled. All the way filled up. Not missing out on anything, whether it's family, whether it's your health, whether it's finances, whether it's relationships. It's about being fulfilled. And if you want to be fulfilled, it takes intentionality. It takes building a team around you. It takes commitment. So today I want to help you with that commitment. Perhaps today you're saying to yourself, all right, it's time to be serious. I'm ready to make things happen. I'm ready to see some results out of my life. I'm ready to see some results out of my business. I'm ready to see some results even in my finances. I'm ready to see results in my relationships with my family. I'm ready for a change. So if that's you, today we have a limited time offer that I'm going to share with the coaching that I offer. And in particular today I'm going to talk about one-to-one coaching, building that relationship for that encouragement, that troubleshooting, and that accountability. So the limited time offer that we have today is for 12 one-to-one coaching sessions. So imagine all of this that we've covered today. We really drill down and get at the root and build a great foundation, a solid foundation over the course of those 12 sessions so that you can build something great in your life, in your business. So 12 one-to-one coaching sessions, unlimited access to your coach via email and text outside of those sessions. So while your one-to-one time is dedicated with those coaching sessions, you can still reach out if it's midnight one day and you have a thought, an aha moment, and you want to send that out to get some feedback on it. You can do that even in between sessions. Doesn't mean you're going to get a response at midnight. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but you'll definitely get a response even outside of the regular coaching session. So you have unlimited access to coach. You also get a free Life of Value workshop. If you recall, I went over my Life of Value worksheet, which you'll also get included in your coaching, where we'll actually have that picture of you with your mission statement, your vision statement, your value, your values, and your beliefs all laid out so that you can keep it in front of you, so that you can share it with other people, so that you can begin to attract the people, the resources, and connections that are in alignment with who you are, with where you're going. And on that, real quick, just another coaching moment, what happens with disappointment and what happens with bad transactions and experiences with customers and clients and colleagues even, is that your MVVB, mission, vision, values, and beliefs, and that other person's are not in alignment. There's a delta between the two, and that delta leads to disappointment because expectations are not met, and that leads to other problems and stresses and other things down the road. So anyway, having that Life of Value workshop where you come out of it with your MVVB document that you can keep in front of you and use it as a guide to measure whether or not a relationship or a customer or a client is a good fit for you is a great value. You get that free with this limited time offer. And again, you get the template for that. Also, you get a free copy of this webinar that you can download, and you are allowed to share it with family and friends who may need some encouragement, troubleshooting, accountability. So you'll get that. And you also get free access to one of our Real Smart Consulting University online courses. So you get an access code, and you can take a course of your choosing absolutely free, included with your coaching. So again, this is a limited time offer. So it is a $3,500 value. And of course, I'm not going to charge that because you participated in this webinar. But what we are going to do is give you all of that for $19.95, and this offer is available for the next 48 hours, so it gives you some time to digest everything that you've heard today, digest this information here, process it a little bit, but also keeps you on the forward moving path so that you don't delay install. So it's 48 hours, should give you enough time to weigh options and things. So that's the offer that I have for you today. There is a button that you can click below if you're ready to move forward. If you have more questions, you can click it as well and talk to a coach, and we can see if this is a good fit for you if you're ready. If you're ready to make that decision to build your GPS, to find out your ETA so that you can get to your destination. So again, everything you see here in the bullets, $19.95 one-time payment, and it's not a monthly commitment. It's not an annual contract. It's a one-time thing, and it's available for you at this price for the next 48 hours. So again, if you are serious and committed, go ahead and click now, reserve your spot. There are limited spots. I didn't put that on there, but there are limited spots for this price for the sessions. So do take advantage of that, and also give us shoot us a email, or click the link below so that we can answer any questions that you might have as it relates to this. So again, I'm happy that you made the choice. I thank you for making the commitment and taking the time to participate in this webinar session today. I really hope that you got some encouragement out of it. I hope that you are motivated to do great things in your life, in your business, and really to make this year one that you can look back on and say this was a year of transformation, a year of growth, and a banner year. So again, thank you, and look forward to hopefully working with you and talking with you soon.